behind the locked doors of Whitehall Palace. England's most powerful king was screaming in agony. Henry VIII, the man who once terrified an entire nation, was now rotting alive in his own bed. His body was failing, his mind was breaking, and even as death crept closer, he was still signing execution orders. Blood and power. These two obsessions defined the life and the death of Henry VIII. By the winter of 1547, England's most infamous king was barely alive. His enormous body lay trapped in a dark chamber of Whitehall Palace, decaying from the inside. Courtiers whispered behind closed doors, "The lion is dying." But, even in his final days, his claws remained sharp. This grotesque ending was a shocking contrast to the man Henry once was. Decades earlier, Henry VIII had been the Golden Prince of Europe, young, athletic, handsome, and full of energy. He jousted with champions, hunted relentlessly, and charmed royal courts across Christendom. He was the image of Renaissance masculinity. No one could have imagined that this vibrant king would one day become a prisoner of his own body. So what went wrong? The answer lies not just in his 6 marriages, but in a slow chain of medical disasters that destroyed both his body and his mind. By January 1547, Henry was almost unrecognizable. His legs were covered in open, festering ulcers that oozed pus and produced a stench so foul that servants struggled not to vomit in his presence. Moving him required mechanical devices. Some accounts suggest his weight had reached nearly 400 pounds. His face was swollen and yellowed. His eyes sank deep into bloated flesh. The royal physicians tried everything. They knew bloodletting, herbal mixtures, and prayer, but nothing worked. Modern historians believe Henry suffered from type 2 diabetes, severe gout, and chronic bone infections, leaving him in constant agony. But the physical collapse was only half the tragedy. Henry's personality changed dramatically. His famous temper transformed into uncontrollable rage. He lashed out violently, then slipped into confused silence. Heavy doses of opium dulled his pain but clouded his mind. Court records describe moments of near delirium, when Henry spoke of executed enemies and dead wives standing beside his bed. Yet even as death approached, politics never stopped. Henry's only legitimate son, Edward, was just 9 years old. Rival factions at court were already plotting to control England after the king's death. Catholic conservatives clashed with Protestant reformers. Paranoia to the very end, Henry continued signing execution orders while barely able to hold a pen. His failing health was treated as a state secret. Official proclamations still described the king as strong and healthy. Inside the royal chamber, the reality was far darker. The air reeked of decay, barely masked by burning incense. Servants whispered of hearing Henry's screams echo through Whitehall at night. His ulcers caused such intense pain that even the slightest movement triggered agony. Physicians applied disparate treatments, crushed onions, herbal pastes, even powdered human skull. None helped. In January 1547, Henry suffered a violent seizure. He collapsed, partially paralyzed and unable to speak, clear signs of a massive stroke. The court doctors panicked, knowing failure could cost them their lives. They burned his skin with hot irons and forced bitter medicines down his throat. Access to the king was tightly controlled. Even his wife, Catherine Parr, was often kept away. The court feared that news of Henry's condition could spark rebellion or foreign invasion. As the days passed, Henry drifted in and out of consciousness. During rare lucid moments, fear replaced fury. The man who had sent thousands to their deaths now feared judgment himself. He whispered prayers in his sleep, begging forgiveness. Before dawn, on January 28, 1547, Henry VIII died. Even in death, his body dominated the room, a grotesque monument to excess and suffering. The official cause was recorded as natural decay, though modern medicine suggests heart failure, sepsis, and complications from diabetes. But the story didn't end there. His death was kept secret for 3 full days while the Privy Council secured power for young Edward VI. When the bells of London finally rang, England's future had already been decided. Henry VIII, the king who bent religion, law, and lives to his will, was gone. And in the end, even absolute power could not save him from his own body.